G'day everyone, my name's Cautious Pancake and today let's talk about how you can recognise the new POIs for 1.0, including the new questable locations, remnants, and how, if your memory is as bad as mine, you can confirm if the location you just wandered into is new in 1.0 or something that's always been there. For those that don't already know, in 1.0 the Fun Pimps have added a ton of new POIs for us to explore. Specifically, they've added 18 new questable locations as well as 72 remnants, 5 random world gen tiles, and 14 large parts, totaling 109 new locations to form part of the world. For the questable locations, the 18 is made up of 3 tier 2s, 3 tier 3s, 6 tier 4s, and 6 tier 5s. Each of these are kitted out for the usual fetch, clear, and infestation quests, and some for the restore power as well. If you've spent time watching the dev streams prior to the experimental 1.0 release, you will likely have seen clips of these previously, so I'm not going to go inside and play them because that would be one crazy long video, and I want you to see them fresh whenever you get the chance to play. It's also worth noting that from the dozen or so random generated worlds that I tested, a couple of these POIs did not appear in any of them, they only appeared in Navezgane. It could have been just bad luck from the sample size, but I suspect these are specific to that map. The rest, like all POIs, have a chance to appear in random maps, but aren't guaranteed. You'll likely get multiple of some, and miss others entirely on any particular map. As well as these 18 questable locations, there are 72 remnants, which are POIs that don't have quests attached, typically will only have a few zombies inside, and don't have any major loot chests, but can sometimes still have a loot crate like a working stiff or shotgun messiah. They're designed to add a little more flavour to the world, with some of them being broken down buildings and other just little fun additions, like one of my favourites, which is this little treehouse. The remnants are also designed to be lighter weight on the engine, but from all the discussion around the streamer weekend, the FPS of 1.0 is slightly down in general compared to Alpha 21, but it could also be a more smooth experience, without the big dips that you used to get in cities especially. I'm not really qualified to discuss FPS and graphics outcomes, so I only mention this as the Fun Pimps called it out on the dev streams as one of the benefits of the remnants. Personally, I think it adds character to the world, and allows the POI designers to build some cool looking POIs and areas that don't have to support all the requirements of a questable location, so they can focus more just on the look and feel, and sometimes make it more of a puzzle or a platformer depending on the location. I think some of these will make for really great base locations as well, something that I'm hoping to get back into more soon. After the remnants, there are also 5 new random world gen tiles, which include things like these bridges, which often sit near the entrance and exits to towns, as well as some other parts, like this one with a lake and another one with a T-junction. These don't have any notable buildings or loot, but add some nice variety to the world and to the borders between the wilderness and the cities. And lastly, there are 14 large part tiles that have also been added. Of these, I think that most are limited to Navezgane, 11 in fact, and only the 3 parks are used in randomly generated worlds. The parks are nice open spaces that provide some relief from the tall buildings that are commonly found in the bigger city spaces. For the 11 Navezgane only large parts, most are the bridges that are specifically designed for that map and would be hard to fit into the randomly generated worlds without looking out of place. Others are around the canyon, with the canyon gift shop parking lot, broken bridge, and car wreck being specific to that location. Still, these are nice additions to Navezgane should you play that map, and might form an interesting part of the storyline when that is added in a later release. So now that you know what the new POIs are for 1.0, the question is, how can you identify them when you're playing? I found that when first jumping into 1.0, that for some of the downtown remnants, or lesser known POIs, I wasn't sure if they were added in the game in Alpha 21 or in 1.0, since I couldn't remember seeing them previously. To help with that, I've created a small mod that, for those that want to, will modify the location name to indicate if it's new or not, by adding in an asterisk after the location name. This appears in yellow for questable locations and green for remnants and large parts. As the game uses the same location descriptions for both the pop-up display when you enter a location and also for the quest descriptions, it means that when you're picking up a quest from the trader, the quest location description will also include this marker, which means if you want to, you can prioritize the new locations if you want to see them or learn them. As the mod is just a small modification to the localization file, if the yellow-green combination doesn't work for you, it should be easy to replace the hex codes with a different color. And if you want to use it to track which POIs you've seen, after you complete a POI you can always just delete the row from the mod file and it will revert back to the default value when the game is next launched. And finally, if you don't like the asterisk as the character to call attention to the POI, then feel free to replace that with whatever you want instead. A couple of notes about the mod. Not all of the remnants have proper locations currently, so for those that don't, I've just done a basic conversion of the internal label to a more friendly name. Also worth noting that the localization is only in English for now. If new languages are added into the main game file later, I'll update the mod as well to cover them off. Also, some of the locations, like the random world gen tiles, don't display as named locations within the game, so even if you modify these, they won't show up. But that's all there is to it though. This little mod is now available from Nexus Mods. See the link in the description if you want to download a copy. Otherwise, I hope this video has been useful. Please leave it a like if it has, and consider subscribing if you're interested in more videos like this one. Thanks to my awesome supporters on Patreon. Thanks to you for watching this video, and happy exploring!